Well, welcome to the FBC blog and the interviews that we've been doing. We have another very special guest for this interview. You guys, most of you know him and his precious family. This is Matt Kopp from Malawi. He's from FBC and now living in Malawi and serving as the pastor of International Bible Fellowship there. We have an opportunity just to chat with him. They have gone through a fairly harrowing experience as the borders in Malawi closed, and then they were forced to fly out of Malawi under some pretty extreme circumstances. And so just a neat opportunity to interview with him and hear how the Lord's been working in his heart and the hearts of his family through this time. So Matt, good to have you. Just a couple quick questions. Number one, how has your faith been challenged? And then secondly, just ways that you've seen blessings during this season. Obviously different for you when it comes to all that happens as a missionary. So we'd love to hear from you.
All right. Well, thanks, John. Thanks for the opportunity. Hello, church family. Good to be with you guys. As we think about how our faith is challenged, I think the first challenge really came when coronavirus sort of first started making waves in the Western world. And the question was, do we stay in Malawi back then? This would have been even back in March. And I think the Lord really confirmed that at that point we were supposed to stay. And so it was just having to trust him that, this is where he wants us to be. And so he'll take care of us and our needs and our children and medical, even with the flights getting shut down and all of that. And so I think that was the first step of faith that he wanted to grow us in. And then after that, the next step of faith was when he said, okay, now actually I'm going to bring you back to the States. And so then it was to kind of turn our hearts completely over from we were here, we were ready to be here, we were stocking the pantry and figuring out what we were going to need to do, and then to turn around and say, okay, now on very short notice, we're going to leave our home, we're going to leave the church family, and honestly, we don't know how long we're going to be gone, and that's hard. It's hard to leave your home and your life and your ministry in just such a tenuous way like that, and not knowing how long it'll be and when you'll get to return. And then in the midst of that, there was even a little bit of back and forth where there was like, okay, you're going to take this flight. Well, maybe if the flight happens. And so then it was trusting the Lord of once we were on board to go, of maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't. And so there was just some back and forth that it was very clear that the Lord just wanted us to trust him no matter what happened, that we needed to be in the center of his will, and that would be the best place and the safest place for us to be. So as far as the blessings go, I think one is just having our faith challenged that way was really good. Asking, what do we trust in? Do we trust in American healthcare, or do we trust in Christ and what he would do for us? I think the other huge blessing is our fellow leaders and elders at the church in Malawi. A few months ago, Brian and I had this conversation of actually saying, we know that the church is in good hands, that even if I had to leave, and ironically back then we were talking about my visa, which still isn't all sorted out yet, but saying if the government just yanked me out of the country, we're confident of the men here that would be able to lead the church. I don't think our work there is done yet, but we know that the Lord has been doing something great. And so when it got time for us to leave the country now for this whole coronavirus deal and all of that and getting repatriated, there was that blessing of knowing that, no, the Lord is going to care for his church, and he has specifically put men in place who will be there and who are continuing to shepherd the church on the ground in Malawi. And so that's been one of just the greatest blessings, is seeing how the Lord cares for his church, and then just practically seeing the way that the Lord has cared for us throughout the process of it, not only working out the flight and the details, even the little things. We landed in DC, and John Coe and his family show up to drop off dinner from a safe 6 feet apart, of course, social distancing, but just all kinds of little things that the Lord has done, providing a place for us to be while we quarantine and all of that. So seeing what the Lord really does, he cares for his church, but then he cares for his people as well. So we're very grateful.
That's awesome. Very cool, man. What a blessing to hear how the Lord's been working through this season. We're super thankful for you guys, and we miss you, and we're hoping we'll get to see you while you're here.
Yeah, we can't wait to see you. Sunday morning we'll be there digitally, however that looks like or works out. We're looking forward to that.
That's awesome. Very good. Yeah, well, we've had some glitches on the internet, so hopefully it all comes through clear. But that's super encouraging. So hey, thanks so much for taking your time. I know you guys are busy and trying to get things organized, but we love you and we'll be praying for you.
Absolutely. Thanks so much.
See ya.